day, fellow human, and welcome to this journey, because it is going to be a journey. Last week I showed you some Instagram reels that randomly came on my feed, and I came across this.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you try to recreate the Earth. Because they say we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, 66,700 miles an hour ripping through the galaxy, 500,000 miles an hour chasing the sun through the galaxy, while water remains on the Earth and doesn't spill off at all because of gravity. But yet you just can't recreate this, ever. Water doesn't stick to a ball, and it's just ridiculous to consider that it would. Now, that's not even to mention the vacuum of space. How can you have a vacuum of space, but you also have a pressurized system? You can't have pressure inside of a vacuum. Take back your common sense. Please, I'm begging you. I love you all. Go to my website if you want more information, and this is my opinion.
And I felt very compelled to explain to you that the Earth is not a plastic apple on a string. It's something very different. After that, I came to my senses and was very sure that this had to be rage bait. But then I looked on this guy's website because I just wanted to check. Turns out it's not rage bait, or it's very well thought out rage bait to the point that this guy made a website about this. But I don't think so. If that's the case, I will applaud that, but I don't think so. Today we're going to take a look at this website and some more of his content, because I find it absolutely ridiculous and I want to know what this guy is coming from. So we need to find out. Before we get started though, I'm putting myself through art school, and that's hard but fun, and I'm learning a lot, which is kind of the point. And you can help me with that for free by subscribing and watching my videos. I would appreciate that a lot. And if you want to, you can find these plushies and some more art that I made on the link in my description here. And if you do that, I will also donate a part to the charity Doctors Without Borders, because I like doing that, and the rest will go to my study, of course, but only if you want to. Anyway, thank you, and now let's get started. So first I need to read the introduction on this website to you. The design here is certainly a statement. It kind of reminds me of those good old word art days. I loved word art and like making my text in literally all colors of the rainbow, so you couldn't read it anymore. Anyways, kind of reminds me of that. Also, this logo with the Republican and Democrat thing kind of yeeted on there is giving graphic design is my passion. Graphic design isn't my strong suit either, but it is a very useful thing to learn about if you want people to take you seriously, if you make stuff like websites or comics like I do. So first learn at least the basics before you do this, because I don't think people are going to take you seriously with this graphic design. But okay, this image is kind of supposed to explain what he does, I think. Just says a bunch of words like symbolism, theology, history, mythology, esoteric and occult knowledge, flat earth and astrotheology, and belief is not knowing. I don't think this combination of words is specifically very positive for the rest of the video, but we'll see. And also, what on earth is astrotheology? Those feel like two words that don't really belong together, but I will get back to that. Now, for the rest of the intro, I'm one of the most censored and banned researchers and thruders on the internet. He's even putting thruders into air quotes himself. Like, he doesn't take himself seriously? I don't know, I wouldn't do that. It's funny to me though. Anyhow, ever since I began posting on social media about 2 years ago, I was instantly denied the ability to monetize. For those who may not know what that means, I'm unable to earn any income from my videos on any platform. I do not get paid for any of my content. Every video I've ever posted has been shared freely because I believe people deserve access to information regardless of whether they agree with me or not. Even if my views are controversial, I should still have the right to participate in monetization. That's kind of contradicting with what you said earlier, because you're sharing information freely so people have access, yet you want to get paid. You know, it's contradicting each other. Unfortunately, that right has been taken from me, and that's where things stand. I created this website to build a platform of my own, one where I can continue to share the information I believe people have a right to know. And also, you can pay him $5 a month to talk to him and support him, or quote, have an open line of communication. Almost all of this is about monetization, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. A lot of content creators, including myself, want to get paid at some point for the work that they put in creating their content, because it makes it easier to create content to have the time or take the time to do that. But it should should not only be about that. Like, the main thing should be passion, because otherwise you can easier get another job that is probably more stable. And I know the job market isn't very easy right now, but having YouTube or any other social media as your full-time job and getting it that far is very hard, and you should know that going into it, and it shouldn't be your goal. Like, I love making videos and talking to you on the internet, otherwise I would not be doing it. However, it does look like this guy has passion for what he's saying, but his entire introduction on this website is about monetization, so that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, you're not entitled to any creator fund, especially if you're spreading scientific lies and saying that it's your opinion. Like, doesn't work like that. And also, you're also not entitled to getting money for having an opinion, because everyone has an opinion. You don't get paid to have an opinion in most cases. And again, he does sound so passionate about telling the truth and believing and stuff like that, so much that this graphic design crime of a website for making money about that is very illogical. I am confused by this, and I'm very curious if people actually do pay him this $5 a month to talk to him or have more access to other content or whatever, because why would you do that? The zodiac and the church. Did you know that the church is filled with zodiac symbolism? Most people who attend the church are under the impression that the zodiac is evil and that studying it will earn you a one-way ticket to the underworld. I, on the other hand, recognize how absurd that sounds, because not only is hell a mythical concept that we don't need to fear, but the Bible itself is deeply rooted in zodiac symbolism. If you truly want to understand the Bible, you need to understand the zodiac. And there's another thing that says in another font, by the way, which is, oh my god, graphic design. The church does not want you to learn about astrology, because as soon as you attain a certain level of knowledge about the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets, you will never believe a single word the church has to say ever again. I think the thing that this guy is trying to accomplish is confusing people, because I'm very confused. On one hand, I think this guy is a Christian because he mentions the Bible specifically, like not the Torah or the Quran or any other theological text, so many times on this website, and he even has quotes here. But on the other hand, he's trying to expose the Bible and says that he does not believe in hell, which is not a very Christian thing, I think. I am curious to see more of his video explanations, because this website is just a list of very overthought conspiracy theories, and I don't like that. I overthink a lot, but I never end up here for some reason. But like, maybe we can learn something about his process back on Instagram.
A great example of how powerful the mind is. We don't give our minds credit because we can actually do a lot. Human beings are capable of far more. I think we have been lied to. And here's just a prime example of how powerful our brains are. Every morning when I go to make the coffee, all right, and I pour the water into the coffee cup, the mug, and it starts making that water sound. Now, even if I don't have to go to the bathroom that bad, as soon as I hear that water sound, that water trickling into the thing, and then I have to pour the pot into the back of the coffee machine, as soon as I hear that water noise, it triggers my brain to thinking I have to go to the bathroom. And it's crazy because as soon as I woke up, when I'm walking around, when I'm deciding to make the coffee, at no point do I feel like I need to go to the bathroom. I'm perfectly fine. It isn't until I hear that water trickling in, it triggers my brain, and I just desperately need to go to the bathroom. Now,
I think this means that you need to see a doctor, because this is not happening to everyone. It's not happening to me. And also, I don't really understand what he's trying to say here. Maybe that our brains are powerful, because that's true. And also, there's still so much we need to discover about how our brain works. That's not a secret. Everyone knows that. That's common knowledge, I feel like. And if you don't know that, here it is. Brains, we don't understand them entirely, and they're powerful because we can do all the things that we do. Maybe he's trying to say that our brain gives our body cues based on external factors, because that's also true and also not a secret. Like, when you stub your toe, it hurts, and everyone knows that because everyone has done that at some point, and it hurts a lot, and it's very annoying. I think we did learn a little bit about his process here, though. I feel like he was making coffee and needed to go to the toilet, and after that made this video, meaning that he takes his inspiration from real life directly, which is nice, and I do that too. and that's the way you create things, but that's not a bad thing. And I also love having looks into other people's lives, which we get here. However, I do not really think that he thought this through, because he's not saying anything in this video, except maybe that he needs to visit his doctor. I think that the main thing or take of this guy doesn't have a whole lot to do with coffee. However, it has to do with that the earth is supposedly flat.
To learn about the flat earth. I'll tell you why straight up. And I know a lot of people are going to think that I'm a crazy kook, and that's okay. It's okay, because you can think whatever you want. My life is pretty awesome. It's the best it's been ever. And I fail due to the fact that I have sought information and I have searched for truth. You know, I spent a lot of time, years, trying to learn, and now I feel better about myself because I understand things. I learn things. Now, the reason why you want to learn and understand, not just learn, not just agree, but understand how it works, and I'm talking about the flat earth system, is because we are all a part of a system. We are all a part of an earth that is enclosed. Everything within this system is alive, including us. And I believe if we can tune in, just like a guitar, if you're playing in a band and you're all out of tune, it doesn't sound good. It sounds terrible. If we can all learn to tune, because what you need to understand is everything in this world is a vibration. Everything is vibrating. That's why you see color. So if everything is vibrating, let's figure out the rate at which it's vibrating. Let's all try and tune ourselves to that vibration, and let's see what happens. I think amazing things would happen. However, the one thing you need to learn, how do I tune myself? And how do you tune yourself? Well, that's by, number one, understanding truth. If you don't understand truth, if you believe in lies to the point where those lies have become a part of your belief system, and a belief system is a strong system. Okay, belief is very powerful, because our brains, we are the most powerful, the most impressive things on this earth. I don't give a damn about computers. Computers got nothing on humans. Nothing. Computers are a joke compared to humans. And we are not told all of the information, so we have no idea how to access so much of our brain. And I believe if you learn how to activate your pineal gland, and how do you do that, then really the number one thing you have to do, number one, you have to get in tune to the truth, because it matters and it makes a difference. It's the only way to be able to open up different parts of what's happening out there. But this is what I believe, all right? And I believe this based on some very brilliant people thousands of years ago, because they knew about this. They understood that we have 7 chakras. They understood that there were 7 sacred luminaries that held significance over us. I'm talking about the Greek Gnostics. Okay, the Apostle Paul that wrote the Bible, that was a Greek Gnostic. And they understood things that we don't, because we are not told. That information is for secret societies only. We are the profane. We don't deserve to know a damn thing. That's what they think. I love you all, and if you want to learn any of what I'm talking about, go to my website.
Okay, I did some Googling, and the pineal gland in your brain is the part of your brain that distributes the hormone melatonin so you can sleep when it's dark. And some people believe that it has a connection to the spiritual world. I'm telling you this because I cannot understand what the earth being flat has to do with having chakras, but I still don't understand. This video just kind of lacks logic reasoning. There were some things that I do agree with. Whoa, shocker, I know. Like, it at least has been scientifically proven that colors are vibrations of things in the air. But also it has been scientifically proven so many times that the earth is in fact round in so many times, so many different ways, and you can replicate those things in real life, so you can try it for yourself. So that's also a scientific fact next to colors being vibrations. And I still don't really understand what that has to do with what you believe in spiritually or with secret societies, because those things are 3 very different things. They're science of colors, that the earth is flat but it's round, and secret societies for some reason.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, space is fake. Yes, I said space is fake. What is this based on, this crazy space is fake accusation? This is based on all of this. I mean, there are hundreds, thousands of hours of nonsense. Just NASA faking space. You can see so much nonsense. You see people pulling people out of the way with their wire harnesses, and wire harnesses lifting up their shirts. You can clearly see that all of these are harnesses. Now, why on earth would NASA fake space? I can think of one pretty darn good reason, and one reason that if we figured this out, we would solve a lot of problems in America. America's a start. Now, NASA's budget is $80 million a day. Yes, that is correct. So every day they're spending upwards of $80 million. Now imagine if instead of faking space, which is obviously what they're doing with the money, I can't imagine how expensive that would be, probably pretty cheap. I could do a better job in my house with a green screen and an iPhone.
I would absolutely love to see this green screen thing. I think that would be very fun. So if that ever happens, I hope to see it.
But I can only imagine with that amount of money, you could really fix a lot of problems. Imagine if they gave $80 million to every state and just kept rotating, going down the list and rotating. We could fix a lot of problems. Instead, I have to pretty much deal with getting my car fixed all the time because the roads in Massachusetts are absolute crap. The education system is absolute crap. Everything is garbage. But they're able to spend $80 million a day, shooting their crappy fake space. So it's just unbelievable. Now, this is why I do not respect Donald Trump, because I believe he knows about the firmament. He knows that these rockets are not going anywhere. I believe Elon Musk is also a fraudster because he knows the same thing. His rockets are not going anywhere.
Well, yes, those 2 people are indeed both confirmed liars, but NASA is not them. NASA is an institution. It's funded by the American state, but they're also not the only space company out there. I believe India has a really great space program, and Russia does have a space program, and Europe does too. It's called ESA. So NASA is not the only thing, and I don't think the other space programs are funded by the American state. I'm not really sure how it works, but NASA isn't the only space program in the world. That's what I'm saying. And also, NASA is not those 2 people that are confirmed liars.
And I think it's funny because people are waking up. Yesterday, Elon shot a rocket up to nowhere. And for the most part, it's funny because if you watch it on TV, a lot of you think they perceive it as if everyone believes this nonsense. So if you're watching the news and seeing this thing, you're going to assume that, wow, look at how many people believe this because it's on TV. But the funny thing is, if you went on X or any platform and looked at the comments on those videos, they're hilarious because all of them are like, Elon, you're a liar. You're not doing anything. Screw you. Everything is about how he's a liar. So I think it's funny. There are way, way more people waking up now than ever before. Thank you. And if you're waking up, I'm so happy for you because you're starting the process of freeing your mind. Because on this earth, we are prisoners. We are. We pay taxes. We are prisoners from birth. You get a birth certificate. You get a social security number. You're plugged into the New York Stock Exchange, and you are a slave. So free your mind, and you do that with information. That's just the way it is. If you're closed-minded, you're not going to learn anything. If you have to humble yourself and say, well, I don't know everything, and I'm willing to learn. You have to be willing. If you're not willing, you're never going to learn anything. But I will tell you something. Right now, I have seen thousands of videos of NASA doing exactly this, so I do not believe them anymore. I don't believe any of the agencies. I think they're all connected. I think they all lie, and I think it's all a bunch of bullshit. This is all my opinion. I love you all very much. Go to my website, get my new book, become a member. It's less than a bag of candy a month. It's a massive support to me. I am so censored. I've been erased, deleted, removed. It's just incredible. They do not allow me to make money on any videos, monetizing anything. They don't allow it because I give you information that'll free your mind, and they don't want that. That's what I believe. I love you all so much. Again, this is my opinion.
What is so incredibly frustrating about this guy to me is that he's coming from a place of wanting to think critically and wanting to think for himself, which is inherently a very good thing if you ask me. However, it's not good that it makes him see things like harnesses in NASA videos that are not there. And he still didn't really answer the question of why NASA is supposedly faking space, because the money argument isn't really a good argument. I feel like if the American state wants to spend $80 million a day, which I'm not quite sure that's what they're spending, by the way, but I don't want to do math. And it sounds plausible, at least, but it doesn't matter. I do know that the American state is spending a lot of money on NASA in general. I listened to John and Hank Green's podcast. I'm kind of binge listening it now, and I'm like in 2016, and they said something about the budget for NASA. So it does sound plausible, and it's a lot of money, however you turn it. And I think that's a good thing. I don't really have very big opinions about this, but I feel like if the American state wants to spend money on something that isn't doing anything for some reason, I don't think faking space is the easiest way to do that, because it's such a big project. I even remember something about seeing, I will try to find it, but there was like some film guy in Hollywood that said that faking space, or this was specifically about the moon landing, faking the moon landing and doing it all cinematically would have been more expensive than the entire project of going to the moon itself. Like, you cannot fake that. Was done too well, and it would have been more expensive to do that in the time period with the equipment that they had to film stuff and whatever. So that doesn't really make any sense, and therefore it is a bad argument. So we still don't know why they are faking space specifically. More important question, however, how do you combine believing in the zodiac, which depends on moving objects flying around in space, such as planets, stars, other things, and space not existing? Those things don't go together because they're kind of dependent on coexisting together if you believe in the zodiac. So that's weird. Also, you can probably build your own telescope and look at the stars and whatever and see that they're not faking it, because why would everything be turning around so elaborately as they are in space when you look at space, which people do? Because if they're faking it, it won't be moving as much and be so interesting to us humans. You know, it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make sense to believe in the zodiac and in faking space. I am trying so hard to make it make sense, because I believe that everyone should be listened to, at least to try to understand them, where they're coming from, and have a valuable discussion about it to align what you think and believe in with reasonable arguments. Because these things are not opinions. They are facts that the earth is round and that space exists. They are proven facts, and there's no good reason to not believe in those things. But whatever, for this guy, there apparently is a reason for that, and that is because he feels better knowing the truth. Every video that this guy makes begins with some untrue statement that we all know is untrue. Then he begins his explanation of this statement with something that I can get into, and that's probably based on science for a little bit. And then he goes completely off the rails with topics that are not connected to the thing at all, or are connected but make no sense if you put them together. And then it doesn't make sense anymore, and then it's wrong, because logic reasoning, it's not there. And I love logic reasoning. I did think about getting his $5 talking to him subscription subscription in the preparation of making this video, but I decided against that because he's asking so much to be listened to online, and by the way that he's saying that he's telling the truth, I don't think it's gonna be a valuable two-sided good discussion if I talking to him. So I'm not paying for that. If that discussion can happen in my emails, feel free to email me for free and we can have a free discussion. I'm open for that, but I'm not paying for it. But I also felt like there was enough content on the internet to figure out what this guy's about. And if there's more sensible information behind this paywall, it also doesn't make sense because he's telling the truth according to him and posting it on the internet for everyone to see according to him. And if you put the real logical, sensible stuff behind the paywall, it doesn't make sense anymore. And I kind of still don't understand or know what this person is coming from, which is kind of sad because I wanted to know so bad. But I'm going to be letting it go. It was fun to try at least, but I wanted to try so hard because I strongly believe that the earth is round because the science is there. And I also strongly believe in critical thinking, which are two very different things, because critical thinking should be more about society and philosophy and not scientific facts. But I didn't end up anywhere. I cannot connect the dots of how this came to be, like this nonsensical, non-existent logic reasoning. So I think that the conclusion here is that the earth exists in a universe and that we are silly little humans doing silly little things on this earth, and that's all good. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please press those wonderful like and subscribe buttons. I would appreciate that a lot. And then I will see you next time. Ciao!